Hello everyone, welcome. We are making a Moroccan lentil salad tonight with a cauliflower couscous. Really simple and super delicious and nutrient dense. I'm gonna give everyone a minute to come on and then we'll get started. So I'll be right back. All right, so I see a lot of people joining us. Welcome. My name is Jessica. If I haven't met you via Facebook Live yet, I'm a integrative nutrition health coach, and I do a lot of the healthy cooking demonstrations here with Mastic's Mauritius Library. Tonight, we are making a Moroccan lentil salad with a cauliflower couscous. This is one of my go-to salads. It holds up really well, and I think that it tastes actually better as the flavors sit in your refrigerator. So it's a great item to meal prep, which I love because I love to cook once and be able to eat it multiple times throughout the week. So please ask questions. If anybody has questions, put them in the comment box and I will make sure to answer them. If I forget anything, I always go back and make sure to answer everything. I will also be posting the recipe in the comments, so don't worry about writing everything down. Right after this, I'm going to post everything in the comments so you can make it at home, and hopefully you'll let me know what you think. So first of all, we're going to start with lentils. And this is a plant-based meal, so there's tons of vegetables in here, spices, and it's quite filling and satiating, but you could also add in your choice of protein if you wanted to grill some tofu, or maybe you wanted steak or chicken, whatever you prefer. So you really could eat this as a meal. A lot of times I'll eat it for lunch because again, it holds up really well. And it also tastes good at room temperature or even cold. I prefer things at room temperature, so up to you. But so I'll eat it as is for lunch or even dinner, but you could always add in another type of protein if you wanted to. So get creative, but the flavoring in here is really good. The dressing is delicious. So I think you'll like it. So we're starting with green lentils, which you could pretty much find anywhere. If you guys see, these are just from Whole Foods, but you could find them anywhere. And we're gonna take a cup of these. So this recipe too, you can make in advance. If you're having people over, you could definitely serve this. This is great for the warmer weather as well. So I already have lentils made, but you can see the lentils are just, it's a type of legume. They're really nice and creamy and hearty when you cook them. So you're just gonna take a cup of these and you're gonna rinse and sort through them to make sure that there's nothing in your lentils like a rock or something. And then how I cook them in a small saucepan, so I'll show you. So I already have them made because they're gonna take you about 25 minutes, but you put the rinsed lentils in this small saucepan and you cover it with about 2 inches of water. And then you bring it to a boil. Once it reaches a boil, you're gonna just stir it once, put the temperature down to a simmer, put your top over it, and let it simmer for about 25 to 30 minutes. You do wanna strain these. So you'll see when I'm using them tonight, I already strained them. But again, if you've never tried lentils, they're really good. There's also red lentils, there's black lentils, there's all different varieties. And honestly, I don't see why you wouldn't be able to use one of those other varieties in this recipe. I just always use green lentils. So we have our lentils cooking. We have that already done. You'll see, I just strained them. And again, they're soft, they're quite creamy. A red lentil, you'll see, is great. It almost like is very creamy. There's no texture to red lentils depending on how much you cook them, but experiment. So we have our green lentils. Next, I have carrots. So I already cut the tops off. I don't peel my carrots. I buy them organic, so I don't mind the skin. I obviously clean them, but if you want, you could always peel them. Now, you could chop these up. I love to use my food processor, and if anybody has seen any of my other cooking demonstrations, I love to shred vegetables in the food processor. It's really easy. It's also a great meal prep way to prep your vegetables in advance and have them throughout the week. So my blade is going to be the shredded blade. You could see right here. We're just going to shred them. I also shred zucchini in here. You could shred cabbage in here, and you don't have to clean it. So, you know, after you shred all of those, maybe you just like wipe it out. But then I store it in Chinese like soup containers or any type of container, and I have it throughout the week. So you could eat it on salads. Maybe you eat it with eggs. We're eating it in this Moroccan lentil salad. So it's just a great way to do something to like do in advance. So we're just going to shred these really quick. So easy. I know it's something to clean, but again, I always shred more carrots than I need because this way I'll have them for the week for any other recipes, which I'm making. So I'm going to take these out, and then I don't know, to me it's easier to eat with the shredded carrots as well, but do what you choose. So we're going to start building our salad. This is really quite easy, and it makes a good amount, which I enjoy eating the same thing over and over again. And like I said, it holds up really well. So I have a huge bowl. I really don't measure my carrots. I love carrots. So maybe you do a cup, a little more. We could always add more to the ending. Okay, so we'll move this out of the way. This in there. So especially in the summer, I love making like a homemade red cabbage slaw with carrots. That's another great recipe. So there's a lot of great uses. If you do have a food processor and you don't use it, I suggest using it. I'm also going to add my lentils into here. So you could see this was just a cup of lentils, and we got quite a lot now. And lentils have great protein. Also, it's great fiber in here as well. Just something to note. Now our next ingredient is going to be kale. I love kale. Some people hate kale. Like I said, I think that some people that don't like kale maybe haven't properly prepared it in a way where I find that if you chop it up really finely, it tastes so much better. And also if you infuse it with a vinegar or an oil, it helps absorb and it breaks down the kale, so it's easier to digest. It's also easier to chew. This salad works really well with kale since kale holds up really well. So you know, you could try it with a spinach, but I would just be careful depending on whether or not you're going to eat it right away. So if you're going to eat it right away, you could definitely use like a spinach. But the kale for me just holds up really, really well and gives it a nice texture and flavor and obviously nutrients. I also have, this is dinosaur kale. I believe it's also called, no, this is dinosaur kale. So the other one is a curly kale. You could get whatever you find in the supermarket, and you just want to make sure to destem it. So I already destemmed my kale, and you can see it's just in pieces, but I'm kind of just grabbing it. I also love a salad spinner. To me, it's easy to clean the kale or whatever salads or greens I have. And also, if you have room in the fridge, it's a great option of keeping your greens in the fridge, and they definitely last longer. So I'm just gonna finely chop this. Again, the recipe is going to have measurements. When I'm just making this at home for me and my family, I don't really worry about, you know, how much kale or carrots I'm putting in it. To me, the more veggies, the better, but you definitely don't want to add in the stem because the stem is just hard and it's not good. But you could always, if you have a juicer, you could juice the stems. Some people will even roast them in the oven and then eat them that way too. So it's really just preference. Do that. And kale is one of those vegetables or greens that are more cold hardy. So you should be able to find it pretty much anywhere in the store now. Plenty of kale. So again, we're just finely chopping it. And you could, of course, always leave this out if you really don't like kale or your family hates kale. You could always leave out the greens. But again, I'm just roasting some almonds over there, so I don't want to burn them. You could see, like, how beautiful does that salad look so far? We're not even done. So again, I'm going to add in a little more kale. I even love kale with my eggs, saute it in the morning. So just add a little bit more. Okay. And then the salad's going to get exciting because it has dried apricots in it. We're doing roasted almonds, and then we're really spicing things up with adding a apple cider vinaigrette. And then we're adding in spices like cumin and turmeric and also cinnamon, which give it such a full of flavor. And turmeric is great for things like helping with inflammation. So I really like to look at food as, you know, a living thing. And that's why I love eating vegetables and fruits and anything that is going to expire within, you know, say a week or less than that. All right. So you can see we have our dinosaur kale chopped up. We have our cooked green lentils, our shredded carrots. Now I'm going to add in the cauliflower couscous, and this is probably my secret ingredient in a way that it's so easy that you could get a cauliflower. So you could get a fresh cauliflower, you could puree it or chop it up in the food processor and make a cauliflower rice basically, or you could buy it fresh. Hi Marie. Or you could buy it fresh in the store. And I find it at Costco. So Costco actually has organic riced cauliflower in these frozen packets, which makes it really easy. So on occasion, I do love frozen vegetables because it's easy. You always have it on hand. And this way you could just quickly whip up a meal in no time. So these I found at Costco, but you could buy fresh cauliflower and rice it yourself. I've also seen riced cauliflower also in the fresh area of your grocery store as well. What I do with this, and I'm going to show you, so I just warm it up. And again, a frying pan, and you can see. So it's just cauliflower couscous. I'm not adding any oil yet. It's literally just some water and that's it. You just want to bring it to room temperature. This way it's not frozen anymore. And then we're going to add it to our bowl. All right. And that's probably the easiest thing that you will do all night. So we're adding that all in. And then we're going to add in the fun ingredients. So I just used one packet for today. And you could, of course, use other vegetables that are in season. It's really the spices that make this into a Moroccan salad. All right. So now the fun stuff. I have dried apricots. I just always tell people to read ingredient labels. So most of the dried apricots that you might find in your store, there could be added sugar and there also could be coloring added to it. So these are dried apricots. There's no color added, no added preservatives or anything. So it's just something to be aware of. We're doing about a half a cup, and I'm just gonna roughly chop them. This is gonna give the salad a nice, slightly sweet flavor. I love apricots. If you don't like them, you could of course use a raisin or even another dried fruit. I don't know if cranberries would be good in this, maybe, but I think raisins would go. And that goes the same thing for the nut. I'm using just raw almonds that I roasted over the oven, or you could roast them in the oven or over the stovetop. So get creative and use what you want. If you want walnuts, pecans, but almonds are quite easy and also less expensive. You could even do like a pumpkin seed or a sunflower seed. That would also be great. So we're just chopping these up, and these are, as you let the salad soak, these are going to soak up the dressing. So again, they're going to get really soft and moist and delicious. One more. I feel like everyone loves like the fixings in the salad. That's the best part, right? So again, we're just going to chop these up. They're quite sticky. All right. So I'm going to throw these into my bowl as well. Whip them with your hands. And then I'm going to add in olives. I'm using kalamata olives, but you could use, again, whatever olives you like. If you don't like olives, omit them. So we're doing about a half a cup. Again, you could measure it, you could eye it. To me, you can never have enough olives. I love them. And these are already pitted, so just making it easier. And we're gonna roughly chop these as well. And then we have our almonds. We're gonna quickly make our dressing. The dressing you could use on this salad, or honestly any salad that you make. There's apple cider vinegar in it. We're doing a little maple syrup. If you are watching your sugar, you could always avoid or, you know, just omit the maple syrup. I think it's just good, but apple cider vinegar could help boost your immunity. It also could help with digestion. All right. So we're adding these into the bowl. I'm going to put it right on top of the kale. And let me get the almonds. So about a half a cup of almonds. You could also, if you don't want to cut the almonds, you could buy almonds that are already, what are those called? Slivered almonds. And if you don't want to roast them, you don't have to. I think it gives it a nice little like smoky flavor a little bit. So I prefer to just roast them for a couple minutes. And there's no oil on these. Again, we're going to get our oil from the dressing. So I like to avoid any additional oil if possible. And this is going to give the salad a great crunch. All right. Got everything. I mean, look how, this is a huge bowl, so you can see how large this salad is. All right. And then we're going to add our spices. I add them right into the bowl. And honestly, I know someone was telling me that they make their salad dressings right into the bowl of salad, which actually is quite smart because, again, you're not dirtying any more dishes. And who wants to do dishes? So our spices, cumin, we're doing turmeric, and cinnamon. So those are our Moroccan spices. We're doing a teaspoon of each. I'm gonna start with the cinnamon. This is gonna give it a beautiful golden color. So I kind of just, I'm gonna show it to you guys too so you can see. I always end up running out of room. Whoops. There we go. Now you guys could see better. So I did a teaspoon of cinnamon in there. Next, we're gonna do cumin and turmeric. The turmeric is gonna, of course, give it a nice orange flavor. I would just recommend not wearing anything maybe white around it, as turmeric can stain. I add a little bit more cumin. Smells so good. And then we're doing a teaspoon of turmeric. So you can see it's really coming together. So I'm gonna mix this a little bit. You just want to mix it well. And obviously the kale is going to be very dry right now, but we're going to be adding in the moisture when we quickly make our salad dressing right now. So I like to eye it. To me, I'm like, okay, I need a little more carrot. Again, I'm giving you all my measurements, but totally depends on preference. Also, maybe how many people you're having over or how bulky you want your salad. Smells so good. So I'm going to put this to the side. We have all of our ingredients in there, and I'm going to add salt to the dressing. You could also add salt here or omit it if you're watching your salt. So completely up to you and your dietary needs. Put that there. All right. So our salad dressing, you need olive oil. I'm just using an organic olive oil. It's going to be 2/3 cup. And then we're using apple cider vinegar. This is an organic, unfiltered, raw apple cider vinegar. So again, could help with digestion. Also could help build a strong immune system. We're doing a 1/2 cup. And I also love, I don't know why I'm not doing it tonight, but I love making salad dressings in a mason jar, because it's really easy, and then whatever you don't use, you can just put the cap on and use at a later time. And now I'm gonna add in some Dijon mustard and some maple syrup. Dijon mustard, we're gonna do about 2 tablespoons, and maple syrup, just about a tablespoon. Of course, if you're watching your sugar, you could omit. And the amount of dressing that you put on this salad is really gonna depend on your liking. So if you're watching your oil, you could not put as much, but I like to add a little bit and then always add more. And like I said, as this salad soaks, or I don't know if soaking is a word, but as the salad sits, it tastes so much better and the flavors infuse. My husband has even told me that the day after it tastes better. But again, all that's preference. And then we're gonna do the fresh black pepper. I'm just gonna put in the salad. And then we're gonna do about a 1/2 teaspoon. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. I love pink Himalayan salt, but again, sea salt, kosher salt. I just always urge people to read their ingredient labels to know what's in their food, as some salts have anti-caking agents. So, and I'm just mixing this with a fork. And based on preference, you could add more vinegar into this. Maybe it needs a little more olive oil. But I almost forgot. You could add in a shallot. I'm actually going to add in, let's see, I'm going to add in some fresh garlic. Because who does not love fresh garlic? But a shallot is in the recipe, and I do love the shallot in here as well. You could do a red onion, which would be great. the vinegar, the acidity helps break it down so it's not so bitter. But we're gonna just do some fresh garlic tonight. Does anyone have any questions? It's quite simple, right? Like a little different ingredients, maybe some flavors that you wouldn't have normally added. But really good. This would even be great at a barbecue. And I love to, when I make a big batch of this, I actually will put it in either like wide mouth mason jars or even kind of like the glass Tupperware, and just portion it out in the beginning of the week. So this way it's easy. We could grab and go. Just makes your life much easier. So we're just adding that in. Give it another stir. Pretty simple, right? Someone has a question. So the kale is fresh. I guess you could cook the kale if you wanted to, but to me, there's not a need since we're gonna dress it. So if you let it sit, it's recommended that you let this salad sit for at least a half hour. So say you're making this for dinner, maybe you wanna prepare it earlier in the day and keep it in the fridge, or maybe you're making a protein with it. You know, you could make this salad first and then always add in. Oh, it's so good. But yeah, the kale is fresh. And again, you could use the curly kale if you want to. I use the dinosaur kale. You could also shred it in the food processor if you have someone in your family that doesn't really like kale. That could be another option for you as well. And then I could just pour the dressing on, probably about like half of it. Maybe a spatula is not the perfect tool for this. Here we have a wooden spoon. So you want to make sure you mix it really, really well. This way everything is coated. The kale is going to break down from the vinegar and the oil. So yeah, the only thing you're cooking in this salad is going to be the lentils, which you could always cook earlier in the day. And then the cauliflower rice, I prefer cooked, which I'm really just heating it up in a pan if you have the cauliflower rice that's frozen. But I think cauliflower cooked also, you know, it's good raw, but for a lot of people, it's more difficult to digest. So then this is a really heavy salad. And like we said, there's a lot of fiber in here. So if you're someone that doesn't eat a lot of whole foods, vegetables, then you could have a difficult time digesting it. So you just want to make sure that you're always chewing your food really well and you eat slowly. Maybe I'll add a little bit more dressing. And then I'm going to plate it for you so you guys can see. And I know the cinnamon in here might seem odd, but it really does go well. And this is definitely not a sweet salad. All right, so let's plate this up. You could always, whoops, hopefully I don't break the plate. You could always top this with some more olives or roasted almonds. So like I said, I mean, this would be an amazing meal. Or if you did want some meat, maybe grilled tofu even, chicken. You could do a veggie burger or a turkey burger. And there you go. So, oh, thank you. Diane said it looks amazing. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you guys saw it's really simple, right? I didn't add pepper into the whole dressing, so you could add some pepper on top. Like I said, I recommend letting this sit for about a half hour in the fridge before you eat it, because to me, the flavor profile is totally different and it's so much more delicious. But you could say we made dinner in a half hour. I know I prepped some of this stuff, but you don't need a lot of ingredients. Most of this you could have in your pantry already. So I'm so glad that people are saying that this looks delicious. I'm so glad that you enjoyed the Facebook Live cooking demonstration tonight. I'm gonna post this recipe in the comments right now. And of course, if you have any questions, reach out to me. If you make it, I hope you'll let me know whether or not you like it. But packed with vegetables, super simple to make. Most of these ingredients you could find in your pantry. And also, kale and carrots typically hold up really well in the refrigerator. So it's not something that, you know, carrots last for a couple weeks. It's not something that you have to go to the grocery store. And the same thing with kale, depending on where you get it from. But you could even use kale, the baby kale from the clamshells. That's another option. So thank you so much for spending your night with me. And I'll see you guys soon. So definitely make this, enjoy, and have a great night. So see you guys soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.